What's up, everyone? We are back, episode 4 of the Twins Out of the Park 24 playthrough, and we're here at opening day in 2024. And yeah, so the team's all set up. This is who made the squad. So Matt Gorski had a monster spring. You can see over here he OPS over 1,200 in I think over 30 or 40 at bats. So good sample size. He's a Rule 5 pick, so he has to stick with our team all year. Who knows if that happens, but, he could play pretty much all three outfield positions, and he's got a little pop in right-handed bat, which is big for us because our corner guys are lefties, so really valuable player there. Andrew Stevenson also made the team, mostly by default. He has no options, and we gave him $1.2 million this offseason, so had a pretty rough spring, but he had a good year last year for us in limited time, so we'll give him a shot and see what happens. Brooks Lee made the team as our utility bench guy, as expected, even after a rough spring, mostly due to lack of options there. We didn't have a ton of guys that I was willing to put in there. So, Zunino and Nito will be our catching tandem this year. Both bring some defense, little different hitting profiles, so pretty much the same crew as last year. Very excited for the squad. They had a good year in 2023, and hopefully they can carry over to 2024. In the rotation, it's Nola, who looks like his ratings finally went up. Not sure what that was all about in the offseason, but I think we made a good trade picking him up because now we have a frontline guy that we basically got for, very little. Vasquez had a really good spring, so good for him. I'm sure he'll be good. Wasn't as valuable to me as it was to them. Joe Ryan's our 2 after a kind of rough year last year, where he's a below league average starter. So we'll hope for a little bit better from him. Pablo Lopez, same story. And then Paddock, who was awesome for us down the stretch. He slots in as our 4, and Bailey Ober, who was probably our best pitcher overall last year. He's our 5 starter. So, realistically, Ober is probably up in the rotation, but, these guys have more of a track record, so they get the more prominent starts, I guess. So, bullpen, pretty much the same as last year. Henriquez makes the team. He had a really, really, really good spring, so he'll be out there. Actually, this is their stats for the spring. Makes it easier to see. So, yeah, Paddock was freaking great in 5 starts. As you can see, Henriquez was really good. Jorge Lopez had a rough spring, but, he still has good ratings, so he'll make the team. And Keegan Aikens out of options. But a good long man, worst case, we DFA him or trade him, whatever. So that's pretty much the team going into opening day. We're going to be playing Cleveland, and interesting developments actually in the prospects. So Mercedes was number 10, I think, at the end of last year, and I just got a new update, and he dropped to 20. He was up for the spring, only got 2 at-bats, but, whatever. He's still a good prospect. Montez, who I think we signed last year in the international free agents, he slots in at number 19, so just ahead of Mercedes. He has a long way to go. Brooks Lee, number 66, he'll be off the list pretty soon. Emmanuel Rodriguez, he'll start the year in AAA. He slots in at number 72. Guzman drops down to 92. His ratings aren't as good as they were, but, what was this trade? This was this is the Nick Gordon trade. Nick Gordon played really well for them, so I hope he does well over there. And, I hope this trade works out for us too. Eric Torres also had a rough season in AAA, so we're going to hope, these guys turn into something. This guy's interesting, this Hidalgo guy. They see him as a starter. I see him only as a reliever. I think this could be a really, really, really good reliever, though. Pretty even against lefties and righties due to the good changeup. And, yeah, so he's number 145. Dollander drops way down to 145. This pick isn't looking great right now, I'll be honest. But he still has a lot of time, only 22. We'll see about it, but he was up for the spring, and he wasn't horrible, I guess. He had one really bad start. Besides that, he was good. A lot of other guys that are middling. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of them. Austin Martin, a guy in AAA, who had a decent year in AA last year, so He can make an impact as like a utility guy. Former top prospect, traded for Barrios from the Blue Jays. This guy Julian, he had a really good year in AAA. I almost called him up a couple times, but he's kind of a first base only guy. He can play a little corner outfield, technically a little infield if you really want to go crazy. But yeah, whatever. Just kind of rambling about the prospects. But opening day, holy crap, we won 20-1. That's wild. I've never seen an opening day like that before. It's like Buxton had 7 ribbies. Holy crap. Zanino 3 hits, 4 ribbies. Correa got hurt. That sucks. Would I rather have a 21 win or Correa for, the next 5 weeks? I don't know, but looks like it was pretty late in the game, too. That sucks. Ugh. So we'll have to find a way to replace him. Nola had an awesome start, Aiken to Lopez, So yeah, I'm not sure what we have in the minor leagues to replace him. I know our infield depth is a little weak right now. Outfielders, we got plenty. I think this guy, Alika Williams, who had a pretty good spring. He's been down in AAA for a couple of years. He's 25. I think that he'll probably get the call up, but I'll do it off camera. Oh, also, we made a little trade. We got Braden Shoemake. I think that's how you say it. Not really sure. His name always freaks me out when I see it. I don't know why. Just doesn't look like that should be his name. Anyway, yeah, he was with Atlanta last year. He had one more option year, and we flipped him for Celestino, who looks like he made the team with Atlanta. So, kind of spare part for spare part. But he has really good infield range. He'll probably be the guy who gets called up, actually. So, yeah, we'll do that off camera. But, yeah, we'll update you guys when something happens or an injury occurs or whatever. So, we'll be back. All right, so we're back halfway through the season, 81 games in. We're 44-37, and we got off to a really, really, really good start. So it was, I think we were 19-9 at one point. As you can see, our run differential is still positive. We're underachieving a little bit, but it hasn't been too bad. One-run games, we've been a lot better than last year, although still not great. But it hasn't been our bullpen this year. Our bullpen has been best in the league with a 2.46 ERA. See, Duran has been insane as our closer. And then Moran and Lopez on the back end. You could see no I don't even remember what his name was because we just released him. What the heck? Okay, hold on. We'll show you. Let's just go into what happened to get us to this point. So Byron Buxton's gone down with a couple of injuries to this point. Let's see. Yeah, so he has dealt with chronic back soreness for the last 2 weeks, fractured his foot, and a smaller injury. He's been out about 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season. But he's been good when he's been out there. We've really missed him lately. Okay, here's a big trade we made just a couple weeks ago. So Alex Kurloff, he was having an okay year for us, but, his walk rate was way down. This guy, this kind of a player we can get. Player we have on our team actually already. I just thought he was a little redundant, so I decided to flip him and see what I can get for him. We got this guy Cole Henry. Looks like kind of a stud. Only 45 potential and overall ratings. I'm not sure what that's all about, but even if he's not a starter with the low control, he can be a dominant reliever. Let's check out what he looks like. So his stuff goes way up. That's a bona fide, multi-inning guy. So he's made a couple starts for me just because I needed some guys with doubleheaders and stuff. So yeah, he's made a couple appearances. Hasn't been anything special, but we'll see more from him. I'm sure he's only 24. Then we just got this reliever as well and $1 million cash. So that was June. Let's see. They should have. Oh, my God. Okay. Well, Jordan Hicks. Okay, there we go. That's who I was talking about. So we actually DFA'd him and released him eventually. So couldn't get anything in a trade for him, really. He was walking 8.2 guys per 9. And, he was just generally ineffective. I'm sure there's a good reliever in here, but I wasn't willing to wait for that to come out. So and he was really the weak link in our pen. Cole Sands was just called up, but yeah, all the other guys have been good. Poche, his FIP is much better. Hicks's FIP was like something ridiculous. Yeah, 509. So, and his Sierra wasn't much better or anything. So yeah, I tried him in low leverage. Wasn't really working out. So we just parted ways. $1.5 million, whatever. But some guys have come through that we really needed. Keegan Aiken stepped in the rotation for a bit when we lost Joe Ryan, and he was fantastic for us starting and relieving. So he might be on the way to the All-Star game this year, potentially. So really good for him. Love that we kept him around. Poche we talked about a little bit. Hernandez has been excellent once again. See the strikeout to walk ratio is crazy. Mantiply has been okay. His FIP's a lot better than his ERA. Again, the strikeout to walk is insane for him too. So I have confidence in him. And then these three guys have been just ridiculous. Like, wow. The strikeout to walk for all these guys pretty much have been crazy. Besides Jordan Hicks, which is almost negative. So just interesting there. Drew Waters has gotten some run. I mean, we'll go through the whole team, I guess, actually. I was just going to start from the bottom. Drew Waters we called up. He's gotten some run in the corners. Hasn't been too impressive. We'll see what happens with him, but we basically got him for nothing, so I'm not really too worried. Tomas Nido as our backup catcher has been good. I don't really care. He could do this all day with good defense. I don't really mind. Jose Miranda has been a huge disappointment. His BABIP's way down, so his average as a result's way down. And without average, he's not really a big power hitter. Only has 4 home runs, on pace for 8. So, yeah, he still plays a good first base, so that's valuable, I guess, but not really what we expected out of him. He's actually ceding a lot of time to Brooks Lee right now. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. Royce Lewis has once again been pretty disappointing. I guess he was okay last year. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, and he hasn't really been great at third. He's played mostly. Actually, he played a lot of short. Correa was out at the beginning of the year. But he's been mostly disappointing this year again. Mike Zunino has been just one of the most fascinating players I've ever seen. His ratings are pretty horrible, but he's managed to hit 11 bombs. Most of those coming really early. He was on pace for 40 at one point. So yeah, he's cooled off a bit, but he's still been a good. I'll take that out of my catcher with good defense. Now we get into the actual hitters that be doing well. Brooks Lee been awesome yet again. Not quite as good as last year, but wasn't expecting him to keep that up. He's played all over the field, mostly third at the beginning of the year when Correa was out. He slid over there. Kepler's had a big bounce back year. I'm happy I picked up that option for him. I might look for an extension long term with him. He's played a ton of center. Yeah, almost half the games he's played. Hasn't been any good out there really, but he's not looking for too much. That's might be doable for us, but we'll check that out later in the season, I'm sure. Matt Gorski, our Rule 5 pick, has been a revelation for us. He's kind of platooning with Andrew Stevenson, but he's destroyed lefties this year. And he's definitely going to stick with the team for the rest of the year, I'd say. So he's been a huge find. Jorge Polanco, walk rate's dropped, but he's continued to be a really good hitter. So, yeah, he's our 3 hitter at the moment, I think, and leading off against lefties. Wallner's had another nice season. Probably even better than his rookie year, I'd say. Although, it's about the same. He's just been really good, so I'm happy with his performance. Andrew Stevenson, who was just the last guy to make the team pretty much. He's been terrific. I don't know where this came from. Ever since he joined my team, he's been 140 WRC plus guy. I know it's only part-time, but yeah, he's been platooning and destroying righties and barely playing against lefties, but as long as he hits righties, I don't really care because him and Gorski make a dominant platoon out in the outfield. So I'm happy with that. Correa missed some time, but he's been just as good as he was last year, if not better. And Brandon Shoemake, who He wasn't even on the opening day roster, and he's been outstanding. I don't understand why. I don't really care to ask, but yeah, I mean, he's again only part time, but he's starting a lot more recently, and this strikeout to walk percentage, like, wow. So yeah, he's playing. Let's see. Yeah, he's playing mostly against righties at the moment. We have a lot of platoons going on, as you could see. A ton of our lineup changes. Pretty much everyone's getting out there a couple times a week. So yeah, that's where we are right now as we hit the halfway point. And yeah, I guess we'll be back probably when All-Star games are announced. We'll go through that and probably the draft, and then we'll see what happens from there. So we'll be back. I should probably also mention that we're in third place at the moment, and we're in the wild card hunt. It's pretty tight below us, but we're pretty secured in as long as like we hold steady and no one completely busts. Actually, I didn't even go through the rotation. Duh. Nola was fantastic throughout the first couple months, and then he's faltered a little bit recently. But overall, he's been worth the investment. Joe Ryan missed some time. He's been he was much better at the beginning of the year. I don't know what happened with him, but kind of getting tired of him and Pablo Lopez, who's been better, but yeah, I kind of got destroyed his last start. Ballooned his ERA a bit. Paddock hasn't been as good as he was last year, although his FIP's a ton better, and Sierra is as well. And Bailey Ober has not repeated his performance, so you can see our starters ERA marks 12th in the league, which, it was, I think we were first in runs against for like the first couple months. And that really fell off quickly. So, and our defense has been no good either, which probably in no part to like playing a lot of guys out of position. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more as we approach the deadline of what we can acquire. So we'll be back with that. All right, so let's get into the draft in 2023 here. So 2024, I should say. Sorry. So it wasn't as strong as last year. Definitely so. Let me take these off really quick. Okay, so our first pick was this Carson DiMartini guy. Doesn't really have an infield position. Can play a little corner outfield, but his bat was the best available for like a college guy, so we went with him. He's played a couple games on rookie ball at this point. It's July 20th, so they have gotten a little time. Some guys more than others. He probably took a little bit to sign, but our second round pick, we took this infield / like corner outfield prospect. Another like good hitter, ground ball guy, which I don't love, but there wasn't a ton of great guys in this draft that I was going to take. So, he has some upside as a high school guy, but yeah, we'll see with him. Then we took a more established piece in Drew Bowser. Wow. Okay. Got to promote him up to A-ball at least. Yeah, he's pretty much all the way there. He's 22, almost 23. Line drive hitter. Yeah, he can probably make an impact on my team like this year, but we're going to wait on that. But let me send him up to A-ball. Josh Springer, we took a catching prospect technically. But yeah, he's got to develop his catching ability a little bit. But not a bad bat. So, I mean, if he does develop that up to like a 55, he can play. But yeah. Next guy was Maverick Rizzi. 4-pitch guy, although the changeup's not really quite developed, but high work ethic, high leader. So a good clubhouse guy. And if he was to develop, this would be a pretty good arm. So not bad in the 5th round there. Joey Oki, same type of pitcher, 4-pitch guy. Low work ethic, low leader, though. So, yeah, a couple of high school arms there. A high school catcher here with Halstead. A little bit better defensively, not as good at the bat. We'll see with him how he develops. Took Jackson Mayo, probably a corner guy. Pretty far along as a college guy. We'll see what happens with him. Could just be minor league filler, but I mean, at this point, you're throwing darts and whatever you can get will work. This guy is actually, for high school arm, pretty well developed with like 4 pitches like that could play. I kind of like that repertoire a lot. So yeah, I think he can possibly like develop pretty decently here. So Chase Davis, we took college bat, pretty far along. So yeah, kind of just throwing darts. Riley Johnson, another college guy. I'm gonna send him up to A ball. He's pretty developed at this point and crushing rookie ball. Then we have Jack Crowder, probably a reliever in the future if he comes along. Side armor, yeah. I mean, none of these guys are probably worth even talking about. Jack Renwick, we got Figueroa, Carlos Pena. The only guy I guess worth mentioning is this catching prospect. Pretty good defensively, high work ethic, high leader. This guy is a pitcher with low control, but pretty good ratings. Besides that, same story with him. And then a decent bat with the catching prospect, and just some middle infield guys. Who knows? So there's the draft. We'll sum to the trade deadline and get back to you guys. All right, so we have our first trade of the deadline. Just to prefix this, so our starters ERA has been our really only big issue this year. The bullpen's been awesome. The hitting's been great. So honestly, just addressing this rotation was the only thing I really wanted to do, and I think we do it here. So Zach Wheeler, who's still a really good pitcher, having a good season, had a good year last year for Cleveland and Philly, but has been really good this year. Still good ratings, and he's owed, let's see, Phillies are retaining 40%, so whatever that comes out to, we'll owe him $15 million in this deal or something, but not even that much because it's almost the end of the year. So we're getting him and Sam Hentges. I don't know. He was having a really good year, lefty reliever, ground ball guy. Really like that in Minnesota. Pretty good haul they're getting back here, though. So we're sacrificing a lot here. So Mackenzie Gore, the only guy here on the 40-man roster that we're going to be giving up. Yeah, he's just kind of, he's just hanging around in the minors, having a good year down there, but we don't need him at the moment because we have, what's his name? Keegan Aiken, who's playing that role way better, who was an all-star this year. We'll get to that in a little bit, I guess. Kind of glanced over the all-stars. So yeah, I mean, Gore's kind of just that player, but a little worse. Edward Julian, who has been kind of sitting in my minor league system for the last 2 years, and I think he deserves a shot somewhere. He's not going to crack the lineup with my team. His ratings are pretty decent. I think he could be a nice. What does our scout say? Could be a major league bench player. Yeah, I would agree. Excellent eye. He's lit up the minor leagues pretty much whenever he's been down there, and yeah, good find for him. This is the real gem, the number 10 prospect in baseball somehow. Jesus Vernal, who was a scouting discovery earlier this year. 18 years old, corner outfielder. Has good ratings, but I mean, he's 18, and who knows? I mean, his ratings aren't that impressive. He's the number 10 baseball prospect in baseball somehow. I'm not really sure how, but yeah, I mean, he's a really, really good prospect, just, long way away. And then, just a couple of minor league filler guys to make this work. So yeah, we get Zach Wheeler. We're going to complete this trade, and yeah, our fans love it. I do too. So yeah, these two will both be added to our 40 and active roster. I do need to clear some space on the active roster, so we'll be back when we figure that out. Okay, so we're at the deadline, and I'm probably going to stand pat here just because I think our team's in pretty good shape. I don't know if there's that much more we can improve besides massive, blow up the team kind of things. But our rotation, I'm mostly going to rely on Nolan Wheeler down the stretch here. They've been the only two guys who've kind of been competent for me. According to ERA plus, yeah, Paddock, Lopez, and Ryan have been below average, Ryan being by far the worst. So I'm limiting their pitch counts to 90 each for those three, and then Nolan, Wheeler, I'm going to let them go as long as I need them to, pretty much. And then, the pen's in good shape. Mantiply had a blow-up game, but yeah, we slotted in Hentages right. Hentges. Oh my God, I don't know how to say his name, but we slotted him in. We actually sent down Bailey Ober. It was a very tough decision. I didn't want to do it, but we had literally no one else we could send down that I really, all these guys deserve to be on the team hitting wise, and then I think all these pitchers were kind of playing better or didn't have options. Although Mantiply has options, he's 33, so I didn't really want to send him down as a guy with more experience. And it's good to have these high leverage middle relievers in here. So although we're pretty lefty heavy, but whatever, it doesn't really matter at this point. We'll have September call ups in about a month, and then the only other thing that I was gonna do is maybe upgrade third base, but might just let Royce Lewis ride out the season. I mean, we're kind of just rolling a bunch of guys out there. Shoemake's getting out there. Let's see. Yeah, Brooks Lee is playing there 3 times a week, or every third game. Shoemake every fourth game. And then Lewis is playing a bit more against lefties, but it's only because he's hit a lot better against them. So, but yeah, Brooks Lee is still getting a ton of time over there. Besides that, I think this is a squad we're going to roll out for the post-trade deadline. So, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed episode 4 of the Twins Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.